vision and pay me. It's never to sway me. Indigenous, maybe we winning this crazy. Your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity. This your opportunity, your opportunity.
Imagine a $50,000 pallet of highly sensitive raw materials sitting on a sweltering loading dock.
Yeah.
Like right in the middle of July.
Oh, absolutely brutal. And the temperature-controlled truck is probably just sitting there idling.
Exactly. The truck is there. The buyer on the other side of the country is, desperately waiting for it. They need it to keep their own production line running. But the pallet isn't moving.
Right. It's just stuck.
Because somewhere in a server room halfway across the country, a single line of code in this digital document was missing an asterisk.
Yep. A tiny, completely imperceptible formatting error.
And that one tiny error caused a massive global supply chain to just grind to a screeching halt.
It happens every single day. I mean, the fallout from that missing asterisk, it costs companies millions of dollars in chargebacks, spoiled goods, lost contracts. It's wild.
It really is.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to EDI on the Street, where we discuss all things EDI and supply chain. As integration experts here at Graceblood, both of us spend our days, right in the trenches. We help manufacturers navigate these exact high-stakes challenges every single day.
Yeah, we are basically dealing with the invisible plumbing that runs the global economy.
That is the perfect way to put it, the invisible plumbing. And today, we're going to separate the immense amount of hype out there from the actual boots-on-the-ground reality.
Because there is a deafening amount of noise in this industry right now. I mean, it is everywhere.
Oh, for sure. If you walk the floor of any major manufacturing conference or, browse industry forums on LinkedIn, you are just bombarded with claims. People are saying AI is going to magically automate every business process by next Tuesday.
Right, we won't even need to work anymore.
Exactly. Or you've got software vendors loudly declaring that APIs have taken over the world and that EDI, Electronic Data Interchange, is officially dead and buried.
Ah, yes, the premature obituary of EDI. It's printed about once a quarter by someone trying to sell a new software platform.
Always. So our mission today is to look at what the future of B2B integration and manufacturing actually looks like over the next, say, 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, we really need to dig into the mechanisms of how these systems actually talk to each other.
Right, and why old tech is sometimes actually superior to new tech.
Yeah.
Plus how you can build a resilient architecture that doesn't just, buckle when the unexpected happens.
And spoiler alert for everyone listening.
Yeah.
Technology in supply chains does not evolve by throwing out the old overnight.
Never.
It evolves by layering new capabilities on top of rock-solid foundations. That distinction is so crucial.
Right. We're not talking about some rip-and-replace fantasy here.
Exactly. Supply chains are deeply entrenched, wildly complex ecosystems. So the modern technologies we'll be discussing today, they're about augmenting existing systems. They're not necessarily replacing the core engines that have kept global commerce moving for decades.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because before we look at the shiny new technology of the future, we have to establish the brutal reality of the manufacturing floor today.
Oh, it is brutal out there.
Because the expectations placed on manufacturers have quietly skyrocketed over the last decade. It's what we call the Amazon effect on B2B.
Yeah, the Amazon effect has fundamentally rewritten the rules of engagement. I mean, for a long time, the B2B world basically operated on the assumption that bulk freight and industrial orders were just, slow, opaque processes.
Right. You placed an order and just sort of hoped it showed up next month.
Exactly. But the people placing those industrial orders are also consumers. They go home at night.
Oh, absolutely. Think about it. When we order a $10 phone case online while sitting on our couch, we get an immediate confirmation.
Instantly.
We get a tracking link showing the delivery truck moving down our street on a literal digital map. We get a proactive text message if the package is going to be even an hour late.
Right, and now those exact same psychological expectations have bled directly into the B2B world.
Yep. A buyer expects that same consumer-level visibility for a massive multimodal freight order of specialized automotive parts. It's crazy.
It is. When a procurement manager walks into their office, they don't just check their consumer expectations at the door. The patience for uncertainty has completely evaporated.
Totally evaporated.
I mean, 10 years ago, a customer calling your service team to ask for a status update on a purchase order was just standard business practice.
That was just Tuesday.
Right. Today, that phone call is considered a failure of your systems. If they have to call you, well, your integration is already failing them.
That is such a huge shift. But delivering that kind of seamless visibility is incredibly difficult because behind the curtain, manufacturers are dealing with what you often refer to as the gradual boil of complexity.
Yep, the gradual boil. It didn't happen overnight, which is why a lot of companies didn't realize how hot the water was getting until it was at a rolling boil.
Right. Suddenly everyone is getting burned.
Exactly. Years ago, a manufacturer might have exchanged electronic documents with just a handful of major trading partners, the heavy hitters. You set up a few rigid connections and you were done.
It was just set it and forget it.
But today, that exact same mid-sized manufacturer is likely connected to hundreds of trading partners, suppliers, third-party logistics providers, e-commerce platforms.
And none of them are speaking the exact same language.
Not at all.
Let's get technical here for a second.
Yeah.
When you say they aren't speaking the same language, what does that actually look like for the IT team that has to map these connections?
It looks like a completely fragmented landscape. I mean, a total headache. You might have your biggest customer demanding an incredibly rigid legacy EDI format like X12.
Okay.
Then you have a European partner insisting on Edifact. Then you have a modern SaaS supplier who only exchanges XML files.
Right.
Plus, you have e-commerce storefronts requiring real-time REST API connectivity using JSON payloads. And then, on top of all of that, you have that one crucial old-school vendor who is still just emailing you basic CSV spreadsheets that someone on your team has to manually ingest.
So you literally have all these different file formats hitting you at once. But the format itself is just the syntax, right?
Yeah.
It's just the alphabet. The real nightmare is the grammar, the business rules behind those formats.
What's fascinating here is how punitive those business rules have become. Every single major trading partner has intricate, highly customized logic.
It's not just copy-pasting data.
Not at all. We aren't just talking about mapping a purchase order number from their system to yours. We're talking about highly specific pricing tiers, custom barcode configurations that have to be printed exactly to their specifications, carton dimensions, and incredibly strict routing guides for transportation.
And if you missed that asterisk we talked about earlier.
Oh, the transaction fails.
Yeah.
Hard. I mean, in a rigid format like ANSI X12, which remember was designed decades ago when transmitting data over phone lines was incredibly expensive, every single character matters.
Because it's purely positional.
Exactly. It is a strictly positional format. The system expects a specific piece of data to be exactly on line 4, character 12. If a comma is out of place, the entire document is unreadable by the receiving computer.
Just a wall of text.
And when that happens, you get hit with massive chargebacks from the retailer, your shipments are delayed, and your invoices are flat out rejected.
It's basically an invisible web of tripwires. And because this complexity is rising so rapidly and internal IT teams are feeling the pain of maintaining all these legacy formats, a lot of people naturally assume that the old tools just need to be thrown in the trash.
Right. Which brings us face to face with the biggest myth in the industry right now.
The supposed death match between EDI and APIs.
The false dichotomy. It's honestly the most pervasive misunderstanding in modern supply chain architecture.
Well, I have to play devil's advocate here. Look, I understand that major retailers demand EDI. But if I'm an IT director listening to this right now, I have a team of 20-something software engineers who look at an X12 document like it's an ancient Egyptian hieroglyphic.
Yeah, it looks like gibberish to them.
Completely.
Yeah.
And they are telling me they can build a custom API gateway in a weekend using Python. So why are we forcing our development teams to use a rigid 30-year-old format when modern webhooks are exponentially faster and more flexible? I mean, are we just suffering from institutional inertia?
It's a fantastic question, and honestly, it's the exact argument happening in boardrooms everywhere. But it's not institutional inertia. It really comes down to the fundamental mechanics of what a transaction actually is.
Okay, lay it out for us.
Yes, your engineers can build a webhook in a weekend, but can that webhook handle the legal compliance of a non-repudiation contract for a Fortune 500 company?
Let's break down that mechanical difference then.
Sure. Think about the nature of the data being exchanged. EDI is an asynchronous protocol designed for massive, structured, legally binding bulk documents. It is the heavy freight train of data transfer.
I love that analogy, the freight train.
Yeah. When you need to send a batch of 5,000 highly complex invoices or receive a massive seasonal purchase order with 10,000 line items, EDI handles that structured data perfectly. It has built-in acknowledgments that provide absolute legal proof of receipt.
So it's proven, standardized, and built for heavy lifting.
Exactly.
So if EDI is the freight train, what is an API?
An API is a fleet of motorcycle couriers.
Okay, I can picture that.
APIs are designed for synchronous, real-time, lightweight lookups. They use formats like JSON, which are flexible, nested, and self-describing.
So very different from X12.
Completely different. If a customer is standing on a job site holding their smartphone and they tap a button on your web portal to ask, do you have 50 units of this specific bolt in stock at the Chicago warehouse right this second? That is an API call.
Because it needs to be fast.
Right. It's a rapid ping to your database and an instant response.
So using EDI to check real-time inventory on a website would be like using a freight train to deliver a single envelope across town.
Yes. It's way too slow, it's clunky, and it's asynchronous. Using an API to transmit a heavily standardized, legally binding 500-page invoice with complex tax routing rules to a legacy healthcare provider might completely overwhelm their endpoints, or it might just lack the required security handshakes and audit trails.
Right, you can't put a freight train's worth of cargo on the back of a motorcycle courier.
You'll crush the motorcycle.
Which means the future of integration isn't EDI versus APIs, it has to be a hybrid of both, running simultaneously.
That is the blueprint for the next decade. Building a multi-method hybrid integration environment is how modern manufacturers actually succeed. They are complementary tools designed for entirely different jobs.
Okay, walk us through what that hybrid environment looks like in action. Take us from the moment an order is placed to the moment it ships.
All right, let's say a massive seasonal purchase order comes in via EDI from a major big box retailer. That's your heavy freight train arriving.
Chugging into the station.
Exactly. Your EDI translator parses that rigid X12 document and feeds it into your ERP system seamlessly. As production on those goods begins, inventory levels on your e-commerce site are automatically updated in real time via internal APIs.
So the motorcycle couriers are darting around updating the web store.
Yes. And then, when the goods are packed, your warehouse management system uses an API to instantly ping a shipping carrier for the best real-time freight rate.
So we are effortlessly blending the asynchronous batch data with synchronous real-time queries.
Exactly. Then, the shipping manifest and the advanced ship notice, the ASN, are generated and sent back to the big box retailer via EDI, fulfilling their strict compliance requirements.
Right, keeping them happy.
And finally, the end consumer who ultimately buys that product from the retailer checks their delivery status on their phone via an API. It is one seamless, continuous business process utilizing both technologies exactly where their specific architectural strengths lie.
Wow. So if we successfully wire up these hybrid API and EDI systems, we are suddenly generating terabytes of real-time transactional data.
Mountains of data.
But raw data moving at the speed of light is completely useless if a human being is still required to read it and interpret it, which forces us to look at how artificial intelligence is being deployed to actually parse this mess.
Oh boy, the AI conversation is where the hype is most dangerous right now.
Oh, totally. Let's do a reality check. What is the actual functional role of AI in B2B integration today? Because we established it's not just ripping out the EDI plumbing.
Right. AI is not replacing the plumbing. It is making the water flow much, much smarter. In integration, AI is currently thriving in two very specific, highly valuable operational areas.
Okay, what's the first one?
The first is exception management.
Oh, this goes back to the missing asterisk on the $50,000 pallet.
Yes, exactly. Normally, when a transaction fails, say a retailer suddenly starts rejecting your invoices, a human integration specialist has to manually sift through thousands of lines of raw EDI code to find the error.
Which sounds awful.
It is literal torture. It is finding a needle in a digital haystack. It takes hours, sometimes days, to figure out why the document failed.
So how does AI change that mechanism?
Well, machine learning models excel at pattern recognition. They can ingest decades of your historical EDI logs and establish a deep statistical baseline of what a quote-unquote normal transaction looks like for every specific trading partner.
So it knows the baseline.
Right. And when an error occurs, the AI can instantly group those transaction failures and flag the anomaly. 95% of today's invoice rejections from retailer X are failing specifically on line 14 because they silently changed their currency code requirement overnight.
Wow.
The AI finds the needle instantly.
So it isn't replacing the integration specialist at all. It's acting as a highly advanced diagnostic tool, pointing them exactly to where the fire is burning.
Exactly. The second area AI thrives in is predictive intelligence. And this is huge. This is the shift from being entirely reactive, asking what just went wrong, to being proactive, asking what is statistically likely to go wrong next week.
Give me a real-world application of that. I want to see that in action.
Let's look at inbound supply. An AI model analyzing transit data from your suppliers might notice a microtrend that a human would absolutely miss.
Okay.
It sees that a specific supplier in Asia has been incrementally slipping on their delivery times over the last 2 months. First, they were 6 hours late. The next week, 12 hours late. Last week, a full day late.
A human wouldn't catch that slow bleed.
Never. But the AI calculates the standard deviation and alerts your procurement team. Based on current degradation, this critical shipment of raw materials due next month has an 85% probability of arriving 4 days late, which will halt your production line.
That is massive. You can proactively source a backup supplier before the crisis even happens.
Precisely.
It reminds me of having a hyper-competent assistant, like a smart email app. The AI doesn't replace the underlying server that routes the data. The EDI framework is still moving the actual documents.
Right.
The AI is just sitting on top of that data stream, highlighting the anomalies and summarizing the risk.
That is a perfect way to conceptualize it. But this brings up the dark side of the AI conversation.
Ooh.
Yeah. The catch that no one selling these AI platforms ever wants to talk about, the data itself.
Ah, the dirty secret of machine learning. Garbage in, garbage out.
Exactly. The most sophisticated AI algorithm on the planet is utterly, completely useless without structured, clean, normalized data.
It has nothing to learn from.
Right. If your backend systems are full of inconsistent naming conventions, broken transaction logs, manual overrides everywhere, the AI cannot establish a baseline. It will just confidently generate predictive insights based on terrible information.
Which is actually worse than having no insights at all.
Much worse.
Which ironically proves why legacy tech, like EDI, is more important than ever. I mean, EDI forces strict standardization. It forces your data to be clean and structured. So by maintaining a robust, disciplined EDI framework, you are actually feeding your AI the high-quality diet it needs to give you accurate predictions.
Good integration creates the foundational layer that makes AI mathematically possible. Without it, you just have a very expensive toy.
This perfectly transitions into the other massive architectural shift happening right now. Everyone is moving their enterprise resource planning systems, their ERPs, to the cloud.
Everyone.
The marketing pitch is always the same, right?
Yeah.
Move to the cloud, offload your servers, and make everything simpler. But from an integration perspective, doesn't a cloud ERP actually blow the doors wide open and make things infinitely more complicated?
I call it the cloud ERP paradox.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, the promise is absolute simplicity, but the reality is geometric complexity.
Break down the mechanics of that paradox for us. Why is it more complex?
Well, think about 15 years ago. A manufacturer had a single climate-controlled server room in the basement of their headquarters.
Right.
Their ERP was in that room, their warehouse management system was in that room, their transportation software was in that room. Everything was localized behind one massive corporate firewall.
Nice and secure.
Very. They were integrating systems that literally sat on server racks right next to each other.
And today?
When you move to a multi-cloud environment, your data is no longer under one secure roof. Your core ERP might be hosted on Microsoft Azure. Your warehouse system is running on Amazon Web Services. Your logistics provider uses a proprietary SaaS platform hosted somewhere else entirely.
So your highly sensitive business data is now being fragmented and scattered across all these disparate global platforms.
Exactly. You went from connecting systems inside one secure building to mapping APIs and EDI documents across the public internet.
Which is terrifying.
It is. This dramatically increases your integration challenges because cybersecurity is no longer just an IT afterthought. It is a core fundamental requirement of data integration.
Because every single one of those connection points, every API webhook pinging an inventory count, every EDI invoice transfer between those clouds is a potential vulnerability point for a breach.
The authentication protocols alone are a nightmare for internal teams. I mean, you are managing complex OAuth handshakes, dealing with expiring security tokens, managing encryption keys, and trying to prove to your massive retail partners that your specific cloud architecture is secure enough to handle their proprietary data.
Okay, let's take a breath and zoom out here, because we've covered a massive amount of technical ground.
We really have.
We have these hybrid systems running rigid EDI freight trains and flexible API couriers side by side. We have machine learning models ingesting historical logs to predict supply chain failures. We have sensitive data pinging across multiple heavily secured cloud environments.
It's a lot.
It's a ton. So with all of this incredible compounding complexity, we have to talk about the human element. Who on earth is actually building, mapping, and monitoring all of this?
That is the question keeping manufacturing executives awake at night right now. The human element is the single biggest bottleneck in supply chain modernization today.
Because the skills shortage is completely unprecedented.
Oh, it's wild. Think about the impossible resume you would need to hire for this position internally.
Okay, what do they need to know?
You need a specialist who deeply understands a 30-year-old legacy syntax like X12 or EDIFACT.
Good luck finding that in a new grad.
Right. But they also need to be fluent in modern REST APIs, JSON payloads, and webhooks.
Yeah.
They need to understand the nuances of Azure and AWS cloud security.
Okay, the list is getting long.
And perhaps most difficult of all, they need to intimately understand the highly specific, quirky business rules of hundreds of different trading partners.
Finding one person who knows how Walmart's routing guides work, who can also map an API payload and understands ODoT security protocols. I mean, that unicorn does not exist.
They really don't. Or if they do, they are demanding a salary that completely breaks your IT budget.
Right, which is precisely why the entire industry is experiencing a massive structural shift toward managed integration partners, like our team here at Graceblood.
It's the only sustainable path forward for most companies.
But if I'm that IT director we talked about earlier, my palms are instantly sweating at the word managed, because handing over the keys to my mission-critical ERP data to a third party feels like career suicide if they mess it up. How do you actually secure that trust and ensure the manufacturer doesn't just lose control of their own business?
That fear is entirely valid. Honestly, it's based on the old model of quote-unquote outsourcing, where you threw a problem over a brick wall and just prayed a vendor fixed it.
Exactly, the black box approach.
Right. But modern managed services operate entirely differently. It is about tenant isolation and transparent mapping. We act as a literal technical extension of the internal team.
How does that division of labor work in practice, though?
Well, the manufacturer retains absolute control of their business logic. They own their ERP. They make the strategic decisions about pricing, inventory, and partner relationships.
They steer the ship.
Exactly. But a team like ours at Graceblood, we handle the syntax and the transport layers. We maintain the secure AS2 or SFTP connections. We utilize advanced integration solutions like VelociLink to seamlessly bridge the gap between legacy EDI and modern APIs.
Right.
We write the complex data maps, and we handle the grueling compliance testing with the trading partners.
So the manufacturer's internal software engineers can focus on actually building products, analyzing data, and growing the business, rather than trying to troubleshoot a failed purchase order mapping at 2 in the morning on a Sunday.
Exactly. I mean, you don't build your own servers from scratch anymore, right? You let AWS or Azure do that because infrastructure is their specialty. Integration has reached that exact same level of specialized complexity.
It really has. Okay, I want to put you on the spot here as a resident expert.
Uh-oh.
Look into your crystal ball for me. If we fast forward 10 years into the future, past the current AI hype cycle, what does the integration landscape actually look like? Give me your blueprint for the next decade.
All right. I actually have 5 clear predictions for where this industry is heading. Prediction number 1, integration becomes completely invisible.
Invisible. Explain that.
Right now, IT teams talk about EDI formats and API endpoints constantly because they are a source of friction. 10 years from now, the focus will have shifted entirely to business outcomes.
Okay.
The plumbing will work so seamlessly, managed by specialized partners and AI routing, that business leaders won't even discuss the technology moving the data. It will just be assumed infrastructure.
Like flipping a light switch. You don't care about the copper wiring in the walls, you just want the lights to turn on.
Exactly.
Okay, what is prediction number 2?
Multi-method environments become the undisputed norm. The dream that one single, universal technology standard will arrive to replace everything else is a myth.
The one format to rule them all.
Right, it's not happening. The most successful, resilient manufacturers will be the ones who build flexible architectures that can juggle EDI, APIs, XML, and whatever proprietary format comes next without even blinking.
Embracing the hybrid chaos. I like it. Prediction number 3.
AI becomes table stakes for operational monitoring. It will not replace human strategic decision-making, but if you do not have machine learning models automatically flagging data exceptions and running predictive analytics on your inbound supply chain, you simply will not be able to compete.
You'll be too slow.
You will be flying blind while your competitors have radar.
Powerful.
Real-time B2C level visibility becomes a baseline contractual requirement. It will no longer be a competitive advantage to offer a customer a digital dashboard showing exactly where their freight is.
It'll just be expected.
They will demand it in the RFP. If a manufacturer cannot provide that transparency through tight internal integration, they will lose massive contracts to competitors who can.
The Amazon effect becomes law.
Pretty much.
And your final prediction?
Integration officially moves out of the IT server room and into the C-suite boardroom. It becomes recognized as a primary strategic asset.
Really? Into the boardroom?
Oh, absolutely. Executives are waking up to the fact that how fast you can digitally onboard a new trading partner after an acquisition, or how quickly you can pivot your supply chain routing during a global crisis, is entirely dependent on your integration architecture.
That makes total sense.
It isn't an IT expense anymore. It drives top-line revenue.
Those are phenomenal, highly structural predictions. But, for the operations leader or IT director listening to this right now, they cannot wait 10 years. They have a failing supply chain today. What are the actionable steps they need to take immediately to start moving toward that future?
I have 5 critical steps you can start taking tomorrow morning. First, audit your manual touchpoints.
Audit the manual stuff.
Walk the floor and look for where your employees are still doing manual data entry, rekeying invoices, or hunting down email attachments. Wherever a human is acting as a data bridge, your integration is failing. That is your priority list.
Find the friction. Step 2.
Plan for scale, not your current reality. Your bespoke hand-coded system might be able to handle your current 50 trading partners. But what happens if your company acquires a competitor next month and suddenly you have to onboard 200 new partners in 60 days?
The system breaks.
Exactly. Build a flexible, decoupled architecture now.
Build for where you are going. Step 3.
Demand better visibility from your own internal systems. If your executive leadership team cannot open a single dashboard and instantly see the biggest bottlenecks in your supply chain, you have a massive integration gap that you need to close. Data silos are the absolute enemy of agility.
Step 4.
Prioritize data hygiene above all else. Before you authorize the purchase of a fancy new AI supply chain tool, clean up your master data. Standardize your item catalogs, fix your naming conventions, and enforce strict EDI compliance. You have to build the foundation before you build the roof.
Fix the plumbing before you buy the smart shower head.
Exactly.
And the final step.
Lean on the experts. The velocity of technological change is simply too fast for one internal manufacturing IT team to keep up with while also doing their day jobs. Partner with specialists who map complex supply chains all day, every day.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? The ultimate takeaway from our discussion today is that technology should absolutely never be chased just for technology's sake. You shouldn't force an API transition just because it's trending on a developer forum. The true goal is to build a highly flexible, multi-method ecosystem.
It is about using the exact right tool for the job, whether that is a 30-year-old EDI standard carrying the heavy freight or a brand new machine learning algorithm predicting the weather. You use what builds an unbreakable business.
Absolutely. And if you want to explore exactly how to do that and learn more about managed integration services and modernizing your own supply chain architecture, we invite you to visit us at graceblood.com.
We'd love to chat with you.
And please remember to subscribe to EDI on the Street so you don't miss our future discussions on the specific technologies shaping this industry. But wait, before we wrap up today, I want to leave you with one final, slightly provocative thought that builds on everything we've discussed about AI and the future of data.
Oh, I'm intrigued. What is it?
Well, we talked about how AI is currently being used to read our existing EDI and API formats, right?
Yeah.
But if machine learning models continue to advance, eventually they won't just be reading the data. They will be capable of writing the integration rules themselves.
Oh, wow.
Think about it. If a retailer's AI starts communicating directly with a supplier's AI to negotiate an order, they might realize that both ANSI X12 and JSON are incredibly inefficient for machines. They might just invent a completely new, dynamic, hyper-compressed hexadecimal protocol on the fly to execute that transaction.
Just bypass us entirely.
Right. 10 or 15 years from now, will human IT teams even know what language their systems are speaking to each other? Or will our systems just invent their own digital dialects that we couldn't read even if we tried?
That is slightly terrifying, but also highly likely.
Something to think about the next time you are manually mapping an X12 document. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you on the next one.
This way we indigenous, maybe we winning this crazy. Your opportunity, your opportunity, your opportunity, this your opportunity, your opportunity.